you spoke to countless artists, but you seemed like you were pretty intimately familiar. I mean, I'm sure you did a ton of research, but really familiar with the music of most of the artists that you spoke to. And you went for some stuff that was, maybe a little bit more obscure.
Mhm.
You talked to Simon LeBon.
My man, my man.
And you brought up Danceophobia,
Ah, do you know that song?
which I had completely forgotten about. Yeah. So now, of
Uh,
course, I just added it to a playlist. Yeah.
yes, that's he would be so stoked to hear that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
He seems so great. Did you know him before you talked to him?
I didn't. No, I mean, it's what's funny is like once I got off with the phone with them, and it felt like we were best friends. You know what I mean? It was like it was so intimate. These conversations are really intimate, and it was, by the time, and I think that was part of it is that they, not only was I asking questions that they had never been asked before, but then I am coming from a place of being a music fan. And so somebody in a review compared me to Wayne from Wayne's World, and I just started laughing because I'm like, I am Wayne from Wayne's World. What would you do if you got the chance to? I'm not going to sit there and play it cool. Who wants to play it cool? There's nothing cool about
Right.
playing it cool. It's like, no way, man. I got the chance to ask these people anything I want. I've got them captive on the no fucking way. I'm going for it. So I mean, and that's it, talking about danceophobia to Simon. It's like I was telling him, I was making fun of him and saying, you guys were wrong not to release that as a single. Like, you guys fucked up, and
He
he took
agreed
the
with
hit.
you.
Yes, he did. And he was like, thank you for mentioning that song. I mean, that song is such a gem. But to your question, I'm a music fan. I'm a fanatic. I'm a musician. This is like my life. I love this. And so if I have the chance to ask singers about stuff that I care about, I'm going to ask them those questions. So of course, you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence before you talk to someone. I'm not winging it, but I'm also asking them questions that I've always wanted to ask them as a fan, or highlight certain songs that I'm a giant fan of that maybe nobody else ever talks about with them. That's part of the fun. And I've seen now on social media or through direct messages or in reviews and stuff like that, from people that read the book, that they're getting turned on to stuff that they didn't know of before. And I've had friends call me and be like, what? I just got into Nico Case, or I just got into King's X. I'd never heard of King's X, or Spoon, and bands like Spoon, like bands that are amazing that maybe aren't household names. And then by being kind of among all these other people in the book, you find a song that you love, or a band you love. That's part of it. I love that.
All right. There is what, okay. So, which leads me to this, my favorite part of this book so far that I've read. You're talking to Robert Smith of The Cure, and
Uh-huh.
you're asking about a great performance, and you mentioned the song "I Don't Know What's Going On," and
Right.
he repeats that. Oh yeah, I had a good performance, and I know what's going on. And he's like,
Yeah.
"That's what I just said." And but you just
Yeah.
but you put that in the book, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I wanted the book to be fun. I mean, I wanted to be a conversation between two people, and it should be a good time. Who wants to read a book? There's a lot of pages in this book. It's over 500 pages. So you don't want people's eyes to glaze over and to have it be some like technical, boring manual. I like, let's show everybody's personalities. Let's have a good time with it. Like, we're having a good time on the phone. Why would it not read that way? But yeah, there were instances like that where I would say, what my favorite song was or something like that. And then the artist would say, like, that's my favorite song or whatever, like that's because I would ask each artist what their favorite vocal performance of their own was as well. I think in Robert's case, he was talking about a song that was like songs that are really high to sing, and so I mentioned I don't know what's going on as being one of them, and he said like that, like I don't know what's going on. I'm like exactly. So there were a lot of like little moments like that where you're just on the same wavelength. It's cool.
Oh yes, very cool.